Tonight, when you close your eyes, you are going to fall into a world that makes no sense. Your teeth might crumble into dust. You might find yourself standing naked in a crowded room. You might try to run from a shadow, but your legs will feel as heavy as wet cement. When you wake up, you will shake your head and forget most of it by breakfast. You assume your brain is just cleaning out its junk drawer. But for 99% of human history, nightfall was not a soft transition to rest. It was the most dangerous moment of the day. When the sun slipped below the horizon 50,000 years ago, the African savanna went pitch black. There were no streetlights. There were no deadbolts. There was only grass, wind, and the glowing eyes of predators moving through the dark. So what happened inside the human brain when an ancient ancestor closed their eyes? Did they dream of missed math tests or awkward social moments? Or was their dream world filled with something far more terrifying? To understand what ancient humans dreamed about, you first have to understand why you dream at all. For a long time, scientists thought dreams were meaningless electrical noise. They thought your brain was just firing random signals while idling for the night. Then neuroscientist Dr. Antti Raivanchuo proposed something revolutionary called threat simulation theory. He argued that dreaming is not an accident of nature. It is an evolutionary survival engine. Imagine living in a world where a single mistake means death. If you react too slowly to a rustling bush, a cave hyena drags you into the dark. If you panic during a flash flood, your bloodline ends right there. How does a fragile creature practice surviving threats without actually dying? It simulates them while asleep. When you enter rapid eye movement sleep, your brain completely paralyzes your body from the neck down. Your voluntary muscles lock up so you cannot physically act out your movements. Inside your sleeping head, your brain turns on its visual centers and fires up your amygdala, the emotional alarm system that detects danger. Your brain builds a hyper-realistic virtual reality simulation. It drops you into a life-or-death crisis and forces your neural networks to practice escaping. In ancient times, this simulation was literal. Your ancestors did not dream about emails or missing the bus. They dreamed about being chased by massive beasts across rocky canyons. They dreamed about venomous vipers slithering across their bare legs while sleeping on the forest floor. They dreamed about falling out of high tree branches, a primal memory that still causes you to kick your leg and snap awake today. That sudden jerk you feel in bed, known as a hypnic jerk, is your brain mistaking your mattress for a tree limb. Every nightmare was a dry run for tomorrow's survival. If an ancient human spent 8 hours dreaming about dodging a strike from a viper, their reaction time the next morning was milliseconds faster. In the brutal environment of the Pleistocene, those milliseconds meant the difference between passing on their genes or becoming lunch. Did ancient humans dream of the same horrors every night? Not entirely. Sleep researcher Dr. David Sampson spent years studying sleep patterns in modern hunter-gatherer societies, including the Hadza people of Tanzania. He wanted to see how humans slept before electricity, walls, and alarm clocks changed everything. What he found shattered the myth of 8 hours of peaceful, uninterrupted sleep. The Hadza did not sleep all at once in total quiet. Across an entire camp, someone was awake almost every single minute of the night. Older individuals naturally went to sleep early and woke up before dawn. Younger adults stayed up late into the night. Sampson called this the sentinel hypothesis. Humans evolved to share watch duties so the tribe was never left completely vulnerable. Because ancient sleep was interrupted and fragmented, ancient dreams were different too. You were not sleeping in a quiet bedroom behind a locked door. You were sleeping shoulder to shoulder with 20 of your tribe members around a dying campfire. You heard the crackle of wood, the breathing of your children, and the distant howls of jackals. Those real-world sounds seeped straight into your dreams. If a twig snapped nearby, your sleeping brain incorporated that sound into your ongoing dream simulation, transforming it into a predator sneaking up from behind. You woke up with your heart pounding, eyes wide, spear ready in hand. Your dream did not just amuse you, it saved your life. How did the discovery of fire change the human dreamscape? Around 1 million years ago, your ancestors mastered fire, and it altered human biology forever. Anthropologist Dr. Richard Wrangham showed that fire allowed early humans to cook their food, unleashing massive amounts of energy that fueled the growth of the human brain. Fire did something else equally profound. It changed how humans slept. Before fire, hominids had to sleep high up in trees to avoid big cats. Tree sleep was uncomfortable, light, and full of anxiety. You could not afford deep, prolonged REM sleep while balancing on a narrow branch 40 feet above the ground. Once your ancestors learned to build bright, roaring fires, they could finally sleep safely on the ground. For the first time in history, humans could drop into long, rich phases of REM sleep. Their dream worlds expanded dramatically. The flickering flames cast dancing shadows on the walls of caves. Those shapes sparked vivid visual imaginations. Many archaeologists believe that the ancient cave paintings discovered in places like Lascaux and Chauvet are not just historical records of hunts. They are recordings of ancient dreams. Deep inside dark, claustrophobic cave chambers, illuminated only by animal fat lamps, ancient artists painted bison, mammoths, and strange half-human, half-animal creatures. These therianthropes, figures that combine human bodies with animal heads, match the exact bizarre imagery produced during REM sleep. Your ancestors were capturing their dream worlds on stone walls. They saw the animal kingdom not as something separate from themselves, but as powerful spirits that walked through their sleeping minds. What happened when society changed? As thousands of years passed and humans transitioned from hunter-gatherers to farmers, the content of dreams began to shift. Walls went up, villages formed. Domestication brought stability, but it also brought new forms of stress. You no longer worried only about big cats in the brush. Now you worried about drought destroying your crops. You worried about disease sweeping through your village. You worried about the social hierarchy of your community. The dream engine did not shut down. It simply reskinned the threats. Instead of dreaming about a tiger hunting you through tall grass, you started dreaming about being exiled from your tribe. Social rejection in ancient times was a death sentence. If your tribe kicked you out, you could not survive the wilderness alone. So your brain adapted. It began simulating social failure. It created dreams where you humiliated yourself in front of the group, where you lost your tools, or where you spoke and no sound came out. Does any of that sound familiar? That is why you still dream about standing naked in your high school hallway or failing a test you forgot to study for. Your modern brain does not know the difference between a high school exam and a tribal ritual. To your ancient survival software, both represent a test of your status and belonging. If you fail, your brain panics and thinks you will be abandoned to freeze in the dark. Yet, you still wake up at 3 in the morning with your heart racing because you dreamed your boss sent an angry email. Why does your brain do this? Because your biology is moving at evolutionary speed, while your environment is moving at technological speed. Your modern lifestyle developed in the last few hundred years, but your brain was forged over 3 million years of survival on the open plain. The neural architecture inside your head still expects a saber-toothed cat to jump out from behind your couch. When you experience modern stress, financial anxiety, relationship conflict, or work pressure, your brain takes that abstract emotional tension and feeds it into the ancient threat simulator. It translates a late bill into a predator. It translates a cold text message into social exile. It runs the same terrifying simulations your ancestors experienced 50,000 years ago, using the scenery of your modern life. The next time you wake up from a bizarre, distressing dream, do not feel frustrated with your mind. Recognize what just happened inside your head. Your brain was doing exactly what it was designed to do. It was keeping watch while you were helpless in the dark. It was rehearsing danger so you could walk through the world a little safer tomorrow. It was carrying on a 3 million-year-old tradition passed down through thousands of generations of survivors. You are here today because your ancestors had night terrors that kept them sharp. Their dreams carved the paths of human survival, turning fragile apes into the master of the planet. So tonight, when you close your eyes, remember that you are not falling asleep into nonsense, but stepping into the oldest survival engine on Earth.